Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about boundaries. I want to talk to you guys about what boundaries mean, at least my definition of what a boundary means, how to create boundaries, and overall how to do the hard things that we need to do. I've gotten a lot of questions recently, especially those in my free Facebook group, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, but a lot of questions saying that I'm a people pleaser. I don't know how to set boundaries. How do you set boundaries when it comes to family? How do I know when I have too many boundaries, or how do I know when I have too few boundaries? We're going to answer all of those questions hopefully in today's video. But before we get started, I just wanted to welcome those of you who are new here. Welcome. Welcome to our family and welcome to our community. If you don't know who I am, my name is Bridget and I'm a parent and mindset coach. I also have a free Facebook group called Raising Me While Raising You, and it's an awesome community filled with amazing parents who are on the same journey as you are if you've clicked on today's video and you are a parent. We talk about stress, we talk about mindset, we talk about the hard things of setting boundaries, we talk about so much in that community. And if you're into personal development and you're trying to work on yourself, you're trying to be better, be the best version of you, I really urge you to join us, join our community. I'm going to leave a link in the description and I hope to see you there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every single Friday. And with that being said, let's get started. Before we get into all of that hard stuff, I want to talk to you guys about what boundaries even mean, because I think sometimes it gets confusing what a boundary is. So I think it's important to actually in words describe what a boundary is. To me, a boundary is what I am and what I'm not responsible for. So to give you an example, let's just say family, because there's a lot of hard boundaries I had to set with my family over these past couple of years. A boundary to me is I am responsible for doing the things that I need to do in order to get to a place that I want to be, but I am not responsible for somebody's reaction or interpretation of me doing that thing. Now, for example, when it comes to family, like I said, there are a lot of hard boundaries I had to set. I come from a very unique family in that most of my family that I call family is my extended family. And I say that because I don't have a relationship with my mother, a boundary I needed to set for myself. And my father passed when I was younger. When I set boundaries with my family, let's say, I say, okay, my responsibility is doing the things that are required of me, but not letting their interpretation or reaction get in the way of the things that I really want. One of those things was pursuing a job that didn't necessarily go along with the degree I pursued. It was a job, and what I do now, a coaching business, that it's unknown. It wasn't stable. It wasn't sturdy. It wasn't the right thing, right? There are a lot of things that I think all of us can agree with that are the shoulds, the shouldn'ts, the rights, the wrongs. A lot of these things that we've been conditioned to think because of the family we grew up with or the environment we grew up in. There are a lot of things that all of us, even to this day, no matter how much you work on yourself, you still have that conditioned, that trained way of thinking. And the fears and the doubts and the worries that are put onto us as we grow up still stick with us. So there are a lot of boundaries that I was afraid to set up that I knew would be helpful for me, but I was afraid to set them up because it wasn't my fear. It was a fear that was conditioned within me. So if I don't have a job where I'm working for somebody else, I shouldn't do that, right? Because I don't know what could happen if I start my own business. What would people think? That's another thing that my family was super big on. What would other people say? What will our aunts and uncles think? What will our cousins think? What would they say about us? That we taught you wrong? The fears get conditioned and we live the same day, we stay stuck in this fear. Unless we make the decision to set the boundary and say, I am no longer worried, or I was worried at the time, but I am no longer going to let your reaction or your interpretation get in the way with the things that I need to do, that I need to set in place in order to excel or to get to the place that I want to be. And maybe you're wondering how I came to that conclusion, because that's a pretty big jump. To go from staying stuck, staying in the fear, to where I am now, where I have happily set those boundaries, and my family now knows me that, yeah, she doesn't go along with a lot of the things that we think. She kind of just does her own thing. And the reason they think that of me is because I set so many boundaries, to the point where so many people in my large extended family that I call my close family, they're all kind of living in the same bubble. They're all still stuck, for the most part, in the same state or within an hour or two of each other, whereas I live in Florida, about an 18-hour drive from them, and I'm in my own bubble. I created my own bubble because that was another boundary I needed to set, because the closer I am, because I know how my family is, the closer I am, the more I get consumed into all of that fear and that worry, and that's okay. I still love my family to death. I would do anything for my family, but I love them from a distance. And I set that boundary, and they're okay with me having that boundary. And yes, it will be scary to set those boundaries. It will be hard. And part of you and part of them will live in that discomfort for a bit. But I can tell you it doesn't last long. It's temporary. It's a temporary feeling of discomfort that we have when we set the boundaries. But it's the knowing that when we set these boundaries and when they're in full effect, that we will have that opportunity to grow and expand and think about all the things that we could have without the fear, without the worry, without the doubt, without all of the expectations of the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, all of those things that we've been conditioned and trained to think. And I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy breezy. Like I said, it's a period of discomfort, but aside from the familial boundaries that we have to set, there are about 1,000 other boundaries that I can think of in relationships with your spouse or your partner, in the workplace, saying, no, I'm not going to commit to those extra hours this week because my plate is full and I have a family and I need to do all of these things on my to-do list. Setting boundaries with your partner especially. And this is a big one. I just recently listened to Glennon Doyle's podcast called We Can Do the Hard Things. I love her. And I'm currently reading Untamed, which is such a phenomenal book. But in this podcast episode, her and her sister were talking about women and the overwhelm that we feel. And how sitting down with your partner to, talk about expectations, because there is almost a silence. It's the silence that is the overwhelm, meaning, and this is something I had a conversation with my husband about it. I get so frustrated because I feel that I do so many things when it comes to taking care of our apartment, taking care of our cats, making sure there's food on the table, buying the groceries, buying all the things in our apartment to make sure we're stocked up for the week, organizing this, organizing events, organizing vacations, organizing so many things. And I get frustrated because, when we have a conversation, I see him, after work, and he's on the couch reading a book, and I'm over here folding laundry after I've had a long work day. And I think, okay, so, are we going to talk about this? Are we going to, and it's this overwhelm that I feel, where I feel like I have too many things on my plate, and there are a lot of things that I have to worry about that maybe he doesn't. But it is the silence that creates that overwhelm. Because if you don't ever talk about it, if you don't ever set those expectations, sit down and say, okay, no, this is what you are in charge of. This is what I am in charge of. Then it's never going to happen. If we don't set those expectations and we don't set our boundaries, nothing will ever change. And you will live in this frustration, in this overwhelm. And I think this is especially more prevalent with women, because women are the caretakers, the nurturers, the this, the that. There are a lot of stigmas around women and what their role in the household is, and I totally get that. So the moral of this is, yes, it's in partnerships as well. But if we don't set those boundaries, nothing's ever going to change. We're still going to stay stuck. We're still going to feel frustrated and overwhelmed, and just this ball of toxic energy that I was when I was living with that and I didn't set those boundaries and those expectations for us. We stayed stuck. I stayed frustrated. I stayed overwhelmed, and he stayed content. And until I made a statement about it, it wasn't going to change. It was something so small too. Like, that wasn't even an uncomfortable conversation, but I just never thought to have that conversation because, you know, I should do this. Not even that I shouldn't do this, but it was almost this like innate feeling that, okay, like it has to get done. So who's going to do it if not me? It wasn't the stigma around women. It was just that I was conditioned to do things, to get things done, to take care of people, to take care of an environment. You know, it was just things that I now realize were just conditioned in me when I was a child. And that's usually how it is for women. And I know mostly women watch my channel, so I wanted to briefly put this in here because I think it's important that we talk about some of these things. So in a way, it's like almost even more so that women should be setting those personal boundaries, whatever it is to you, whatever a boundary means to you, because I talked about what a boundary means to me, but a boundary is very different for everyone. So whatever a boundary means to you, that's what you need to figure out, and that's what you need to kind of look around at your life and see what expectations can I set for myself, not only to make my life easier, but to do the things that I want to be doing as well. Because one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that you missed out on a lot of things because you just didn't speak up and you didn't cut out the people that you needed to cut out. You didn't say the things that you needed to say. You didn't do the things that you needed to do. And all for what? To make everyone else around you happy? That's no way to live. Like Glennon says in her podcast, we can do the hard things. It's just about making the decision to do the hard things. It's about learning, growing, and knowing what things that you need to do in your life. Taking a good look at what's going on right now. Imagining the most beautiful thing that could happen. Say it was a relationship that you're struggling with, whether it's with your partner or with a child, or maybe it's your job, your career, or maybe it's your looks or your passions or your other extended family, whatever the case is, whatever it is you're struggling with, imagining what could be and brainstorming what could be. And then identifying what actions you need to take, whether it's speaking, whether it's talking to a person, or making a drastic change, like quitting your job, or I don't know. There are just so many things that you could do in order to make a change. I don't know everyone's life, but I do know what I did for me, what worked for me, and that's why I'm here to share it with you in hopes that it motivates you to make a change, it motivates you to speak up. And coming from a people pleaser, just know that it is possible. It is possible for a recovering people pleaser to set as many boundaries as you want, because there is no such thing, at least I don't think, too many boundaries, unless you don't have any close relationships, then I guess it's kind of a problem. But regardless, it is possible for you to set boundaries, and it's just about knowing what a boundary is to you, the things you need to do in order to make yourself grow, in order to move forward, in order to relieve some of that frustration for you and making your life easier. That's what it's about. So let me know if any of these tips work for you, or if you just have a comment about this video. I would love to hear feedback from you guys. Before I end today's video, I just wanted to announce that spots for my free consult are open. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, but if you are a parent who is working on your personal development journey, you want to feel confident again, you want to make some changes, you want to grow better relationships in your family, I really urge you to sign up for the consult, and you get a chance to talk with me, chat about what you want to work on, and I'll tell you what I have to offer, and we'll see if we're a good fit. So I'm going to leave that in the link below, and you can check it out. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope this video was helpful and useful as always, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.